Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we're out in the woods doing some wheeling, and I finally have my first set of they're traction boards, but it's my first item that covers any form of recovery gear. Right now I don't have a winch, I don't even have a strap. There's really nothing to even get a pull from. Like if someone needed to winch me backwards, there's really nowhere even on this truck on the back end to do any sort of recovery. So having some traction boards is gonna make hopefully a world of a difference. So in the back of the truck here, I've got some new recovery boards. They come in this, it's a really nice bag, honestly. It's like a waterproof bag. They're by Bunker Industries. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive into these because I think there's a little bit of setup, but the plan today is to unbox this, figure out how I'm gonna mount it on the truck, and then they asked me to do some durability testing. So that's what I intend to do. I'm gonna start with like a few different, like level 1, level 2, level 3, work my way up in difficulty and try and put these things to the test. Honestly, I'm gonna try and break them. We'll see what we can find like out here in the woods to maybe put them to the test, and then also kind of report back on how they've held up. So first things first, let's unbox it. Then we'll figure out how to mount it, probably to the roof rack, and then we'll start the testing. So we'll go ahead and break this open, unzip this here, and inside we've got 2 recovery boards, a user guide. We've got 2 sets of, I don't know what the proper term is, pegs or spikes might be the better term. So you have red and black, and obviously a ton of them, so that way you can screw these in. They're little metal threaded sections here that you can screw these into, and then once these wear down, they're meant to be replaceable. So you just unscrew it, pop in new ones. Kind of cool that they give you 2 different colorways depending on what you're gonna do. I think I might go for the contrast with the red. I think that'll look cool. But we've probably got, I mean, that looks like 200 of those things. And then we've also got the tool used to actually mount them onto the boards. We've got an Allen key tool, which I'll kind of get into, but that is gonna be used probably for this stuff up here. And then we've also got a set of straps here. I'm assuming these are some sort of a tie down. So we'll break those open, see if we can somehow use those to mount it to the roof rack, but good to have nonetheless. And of course you could always just store these in the bag, like in the back of your truck or whatever vehicle you have. But I think I intend to put these on the outside. Pulling out this first recovery board. Obviously you get a set of 2. And these are, I mean, they just feel heavy duty. They're honestly probably, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 pounds a piece. And you've obviously got all your little inserts for your spikes, but then they also come with this stainless area here. It's like a plate that you can probably take off if you wanted to with these Allen keys. That's what that tool was for. But it's got spikes on it here to actually grip your tire and allow you to initially get up onto the traction board. And then on this side, if you guys can see that, it's got spikes on this side to kind of grip into the ground. So obviously as your tire pushes in and comes up onto it, these spikes are gonna grip the tire, and then these spikes are gonna get forced into the ground and keep the board from kind of sliding around too much. But pretty cool nonetheless. You've got a couple handles, actually a whole bunch. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 different holes for mounting options, as well as I'm sure you can mount it through the actual handles of them themselves. And then on the back side, you've got some more permanent spikes that just are intended to keep it grounded into the actual ground. So ground too many times in that sentence, but you guys get the point. So I think the first thing we need to do is get some spikes put into these, and then we can start putting them to, then we can install them, see how they're gonna fit, and then we can start putting these bad boys to the test. So here's a closer look at the thread. So you've got this kind of, I don't know if that's brass or what, but it's a nice metal thread in there. And like I said, I'm gonna go with the red spikes on this. So we'll go ahead and break one of those out, and they should just twist right in. We'll get it like hand tight there, and then maybe give it a nice little twist with the tool. Probably don't want to go too ham because it's just, like I said, plastic spike into a metal bracket, so you don't want to break the spike off, but I think that's tight enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the rest of these off camera. You guys get the picture, and then we'll get to mounting these hopefully up on the roof rack. I've got the red spikes all installed, so now I'm gonna go ahead and try and put these bad boys up on the roof rack, but I know that I need to switch around my solar panel up there because it's gonna be in the way, so I gotta make some room. So the plan up here, I've got this Eno roof rack installed, and I've got a 100 watt, see if I can situate myself, 100 watt solar panel. Right now it's kind of going this way, long ways, and I think to make some room for the traction boards, I wanna spin it so it's going long ways, more on one side. So I've got this just simply zip tied on here, so I'm just gonna snap these, get them off. So I'm just gonna basically spin this thing this way. Hopefully this makes sense. So now I'm gonna buy myself some room for the recovery boards on that side. And I think that should do the trick there, but I may need to drill new holes or figure out a way to, actually I might be able to use the same holes that I've already drilled. Just gonna replace the zip ties in a different location. But first, I want to grab one of the Bunker Industry traction boards and see how it fits up there alongside the solar panel before I actually mount anything down. And I think it's actually going to work perfectly. So that will sit something like that. And it actually kind of drops into the grooves of the traction board, which is nice. So I think that's going to be the plan. And then for now, until I figure out maybe a more permanent situation, again, this is all gonna change too, probably once I get the new GFC. But for now, I think I'll probably just use some bungees to strap these down to the crossbars, and then we'll just re-zip tie the solar panel onto the top. After some finagling with the ratchet straps, I was able to figure out a way to adhere these to the truck. So I've got them off to one side, and then the solar panel kind of rotated and pushed over to the other side of the roof rack. And then I've just got two ratchet straps for the meantime, kind of holding it down across the roof rack there. It just goes underneath that bar that goes kind of like this way and then over and around the traction boards. Definitely room for improvement as far as how I mount these. I'll have to figure out a kind of faster solution, but then again, I'm not going to be using these all that often, but I just definitely want to get access to them a little bit easier once I do need them, because you're stuck. You want to just get unstuck as quickly as possible. So not having to mess around with ratchet straps would be nice, but overall it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked to have these up on top of the truck. Kind of makes it look a little bit more rugged and like it actually belongs out in the dirt. Now we're going to get on to the testing of these things. Basically, I'm going to just start by level 1, super easy. I'm just going to drive over them. So I'm going to take these and we'll put them basically in front of the tires and just do a simple test under here, kick them under just like you would any other traction board. Get the other side and we'll see how it goes. Bunker Industries traction board test level 1. All right, so level 1, I think, judging by the look of them, went probably as well as you think it did. They're fine. I don't see any issues with any of the pegs on here. This all stayed totally normal. The underside, although it has some dirt in it, looks pretty good to me. So that one looks all right. I mean, still relatively flat, it hasn't changed. So that gets an A+. Let's just check the other one. Obviously, I went over it, drove back in reverse over it, and then tried to give it the beans a little bit going the other way. And I think we jettisoned this one out a little bit. Let's give it a check. Looks pretty standard. And same deal. I mean, I can see some like rubber marks on the pegs themselves, but they're not dulled down at all. And again, everything looks pretty normal. So I would say the Bunker Industries boards pass level 1. right, friends, so level 2 here. I'm in 2-wheel drive. I don't want to put it in 4 it would be too easy for these boards. So we've got the back tires successfully doing a burnout here on the hill. So we've got the traction boards, the Bunker Industry boards in front of them. I'm going to stay in 2-wheel drive and see if they can give me just enough, give to get up and over this little hill. The only issue is this truck is stick, so it's pretty hard to, I have a feeling I'm just going to like shoot the boards out the backside, but we'll give it a whirl, see what happens. So besides the fact that these are a little bit dusty, they actually did the trick. I'm open on both ends. I have no lockers, so that's why on one side it just wasn't wanting to spin and putting all the power to the passenger side rear tire. And so I had to kind of back down the hill a little bit just to give it some rolling momentum. But I don't know if you saw that. It was kind of spinning out, and then as soon as it grabbed the Bunker Industries traction boards, it spat me up enough forward that I could continue up the hill. So I have to give it another pass, and honestly, all the pegs still look good. These did the trick and actually got me up onto the boards without moving them too much. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with these so far. So I think we're on to level 3. All right, so level 3 is going to be a stress, or I guess a flex test. So as you can see, I've got this thing propped up on some rocks on both sides like a bridge. We're gonna put a bunch of stress here in the middle, try and break these things. So far they've held up, but this will be my final test. I'm gonna basically bring the truck around, drive up and over it, probably try and do both tires. We'll see what happens. Well, I think that went better than I thought it was going to. Put that thing to the test. You see how much flex that had on it? And after I got the rear wheel over it, I was like, let me let it rock back and really sit in there. This thing is still straight. And we didn't break off any tips. The spikes on the ends are still good. The underside still has plenty of traction. I think these things get an A+, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty impressed with these. I thought that was gonna at least add like some plastic stretch. You know how like you bend a piece of plastic and it gets that like white kind of stress marks in it? None of that. They just need to be cleaned. So, I think the Bunker Industries traction boards get an A+ from me. I will obviously have a link as well as a money off code for you, because I'm not out here trying to have you guys, my oh so loved viewers, paying full price for anything. So use the discount code if you end up deciding to pick one of these up. For the price, they're actually pretty, I mean, you could definitely go a cheaper route, but for just a little more, you could get a really, really nice traction board. So, or set of traction boards. Please stand corrected. And that's gonna probably wrap it up for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Bunker Industries, for hooking me up with my first piece of recovery gear. I will see you guys in the next one. I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. I think I'm gonna be tackling a timing belt water pump job on this truck off camera. I'm not gonna film it because there's just so much to it and I do not wanna mess it up and grenade the motor. So I'm gonna try and knock that out off camera. We'll be back doing some camping, probably taking a closer look at what I wanna do with the inside of the truck camper before the GFC gets here. And that's it. I know I keep saying this is it, but that's it. I love you guys. Keep elevating, my friends. Adios.